Bailey Zimmmerman. Oh my god. Now look, do I want to talk about this guy? Honestly, yeah, I kinda do. But at the same time, I feel like I'm shooting myself in the foot by doing so because of the reasons I'll get into. But yeah, even if you avoided TikTok as much as possible, there's really no escaping his music. The dude's songs have been charting like crazy, and even radio seems to be giving him some luxury. As a marketer, I respect Bailey Zimmmerman quite a lot. Dude's campaign and relentlessness to get his singles out there takes a lot of dedication, time, and lack of shame. So I respect how he goes about. With that said, I think his music is utterly mediocre and more actively frustrating the more I think about it. I know he's a guy a lot of young people like, and since he's from TikTok, of course he's amassed a cultish following made mostly out of a bunch of teenagers and 20-year-olds with the mental and emotional capacity of a teenager. For one thing, the dude cannot sing. In many ways, he reminds me of Gabby Bear and how actively obnoxious her vocals are done. Solely because a lot of the vocal power in their songs isn't natural and completely generated. For one thing, the amount of auto-tune and pitch correction used on Bailey is so ridiculous that it doesn't even sound like it came from an actual human being, to the point where it sounds like if you taught the male Siri and his computerized voice how to somewhat sing songs. After listening to so many natural, good, and great performances over the past year, listening to this synthesized abomination is such major whiplash. Willie Nelson's new album was amazing, but one of my major problems with it was the vocal editing done on Willie. Bailey Zimmmerman has worse editing on his voice than Willie Nelson, who, need I remind you, is 89. That's not good. It isn't Beauty and the Beast level bad, but it's super close. And that's only half of the problems with Bailey. Apart from the fact that his vocal performance feels audio engineered, he doesn't seem to have any vocal talent. More so when he cannot vocalize pretty much at all. So the producers engineer his voice to have such awkward inflection and techniques, his slight vibrato sounds like a goat. Even Kip, who is even raspier than Bailey, can still pull off a natural performance. Whether or not Bailey can do all these things is yet to be seen, but he clearly isn't allowed to do it on his music currently. But given how awful his live performances are, the latter is probably not true. Secondly, his music from a lyrical and emotional standpoint is just so shallow. The instrumentals are fine enough and make the insufferable aspects somewhat listenable. The more mellow songs are tolerable and even decent, with Never Leaving From the Fall somewhat nailing an appropriate level of seriousness to them. I'm someone who has a personal pet peeve when it comes to someone who claims to make music that's so deep but is ultimately lacking depth, so this one aspect angers me more than normal. But the album opens up with him saying, "This music is so deep. It's about my real life." And when you listen to it, it's just generic bullshit like being petty towards your ex or committing to a relationship in the vaguest way possible. Most of this album is just a tepid way for Bailey to shout his insecurities into a microphone, and good god is it not interesting. Where it ends especially, having such generic ass writing coming off like a cringy edgelord fantasy. Waiting sounds like a love song a middle schooler would write. For an album whose story I'm supposed to take seriously, it comes off as such a complete joke. And it's not like the themes themselves are bad. The entire premise behind Bailey's album has been explored in far better ways this year with Zach Bryan and Cole Wetzel. Both are albums that explore relationships in far more nuanced and layered ways. They are real stories. And this is just the Kids Bop Disney Channel neutered version meant for people who want unoffensive music. This album wouldn't even get on my nerves if it wasn't as insanely overrated as it is. I get why teenagers see Zach Bryan as nothing but the crowning achievement of modern country, even if he isn't. I get why they see someone like Hardy as one of the coolest artists out there. But for the life of me, what is so special about the generic industry plant with such a crappy voice? The only thing here I'd praise are some of the mildly interesting concepts like A Rock and a Hard Place, and Bailey's band is mostly doing a decent job in the musical presentation. I mean, are you telling me this is a musical masterpiece? This piece of junk? I am not crazy. I am not crazy. I know he's audio engineered. Pitch corrected and unnatural inflections, as if I could ever make such a mistake. Never! Never! I just couldn't prove it. He covered his tracks, he got TikTok to promote him. You think this is something? You think this is bad? This chicanery? He's done worse. His first tracks. Are you telling me he went from crappy raspy vocals to being signed to Warner Music? No, he orchestrated it. Bailey! He made an all-time low ripoff. And I reviewed him. I shouldn't have. I took him into my own channel. What was I thinking? He'll never change. He'll never change. Ever since his first song, always the same. Couldn't properly sing to save his life. But not our precious Bailey. Couldn't be precious Bailey. Stealing them blind. And he gets to be a superstar? What a sick joke. I should have stopped listening when I had the chance. And you have to stop. You. I've been rambling for too long, haven't I? Now look, is this the worst thing in the world? No, there's definitely far worse albums out there that are utterly awful, but the thing is with them, they're universally recognized as pieces of shit. And with this, it's praised to such a ridiculous extent that it kinda frustrates me this is the consensus. But I'm not someone who's actively known for going with whatever the crowd thinks, so if I have to be a contrarian, so be it. Rating-wise, I'm feeling a strong 4 on Leave the Light On. I'm hoping this isn't the direction we are going in, and we can go into the far richer areas like Zach Bryan, because he's still putting out amazing stuff. And if you like the music, who am I to stop you? I'm just a guy on the internet expressing his opinion, and I'm nowhere near the final verdict when it comes to the world of country. So for now, listen, don't listen, it doesn't matter. You can have your opinion on him, and I can have mine. Let's just try to find a way to coexist.